Powered by the Montana Television Network. This is the 10 o'clock news on KPAX, Montana's news leader.
Good evening, I'm Dennis Bragg. Kent Lutzen is off tonight. We're in for a chilly night with on and off snow expected overnight. Kind of mixed rain and snow. It's getting to be a real mess out there. Our Storm Tracker weather team says another more significant system is going to be moving in. Meteorologist Russ Thomas is here with the first forecast. Russ?
Yeah, thank you. That is right, Dennis. We are going to see another system move in. It is going to provide precipitation almost assured for tomorrow. That being said, this is still not a super strong weather system. It's going to start out with snow, maybe even a little freezing rain tomorrow morning. But by the time we hit the afternoon hours, just warm. It is going to be, generally speaking, light rain for us. Now, again, could see a little bit of frozen precipitation early in the day. 38 degrees in Polson, currently also 38 in Missoula. 27, a little chilly in Sealy right now, 32 Phillipsburg. And again, those numbers going down a little bit more, of course. Overnight, we'll have your complete forecast coming up.
Thanks, Russ. The proposal to protect nearly 80,000 acres in the upper Blackfoot Watershed is finally set to be considered in a Senate hearing. It was a year ago that Senator John Tester formally introduced the Blackfoot Clearwater Stewardship Act. The bill that would formalize a project that had been under development for several years aimed at protecting a chunk of public land from future development while still allowing multi-use activities such as select timber harvest and forest management, snowmobiling, backcountry horse packing, mountain bikes, and other recreational use. The concept is also aimed at preserving water quality in the Blackfoot Watershed. Now, the legislation had been stalled until last fall when Tester began pressing for that hearing. Now that's set to happen on February 7th before the Senate Energy and Natural Resource Committee, that first step before it can advance for any congressional action. Butte is getting closer to having a long-anticipated Superfund cleanup become a reality. The EPA announced yesterday an agreement has been reached that has been 3 decades in the making to clean up mine waste along Silver Bow Creek, which of course is the headwaters of the Clark Fork watershed. The agreement was hammered out in a closed session that included representatives from the EPA, Atlantic Richfield, Butte, Silver Bow County, and state agencies. The specifics are not being released just yet. The EPA said, though, there will be public hearings by this summer to let the public know the specifics about the cleanup. They also have a tentative goal to have it all wrapped up by 2024. A representative from the governor's office says transparency is a priority, but again, those details haven't been released. Once plans are finalized, remediation work could begin as soon as next year. The job of Missoula County Elections Administrator is going to be filled by an experienced director from North Carolina. Dana Cosby, who has served Cleveland County for 4 years, was selected based on her logistical experience to replace Rebecca Connors, who left in December. And Hughes, Communications and Projects Director for the county, says the decision was tough, but she was impressed by Cosby's experience for this very critical position.
Well, all 3 candidates were so incredibly strong, and it's a really great problem to have when you have really great people who have strong qualifications. It's a pretty critical position for Missoula County and for the voters of Missoula County. She's really interested in continuous improvement, so finding ways to refine and hone processes.
Montana's primary election for 2018, of course, comes up June 5th, and the general election will be on November 6th. Steve Wynn has stepped down from his position on the Republican National Committee. The multi-billionaire casino and resorts owner is facing numerous allegations of sexual assault. CBS News correspondent Laura Podesta explains Wynn says this is a smear campaign directed against him.
Billionaire casino owner Steve Wynn resigned Saturday from his post as finance chair on the Republican National Committee amid scandal. In a Wall Street Journal article, Wynn is accused of pressuring female employees to perform sex acts. One manicurist said she felt she had no choice but to have sex with Wynn in 2005. She allegedly settled with him for over $7 million.
I would truly like to see him be held accountable for something.
Charlotte Aerosmith says Wynn sexually harassed her while she was working as a cocktail waitress at one of his casinos. She settled with Wynn in 1997. The 76-year-old has released a statement defending himself, writing, "The idea that I ever assaulted any woman is preposterous. We find ourselves in a world where people can make allegations regardless of the truth, and a person is left with the choice of weathering insulting publicity or engaging in multi-year lawsuits." Wynn Resorts says no one has ever complained about its leader to the company's independent anti-harassment hotline. Despite the denials, Wynn stepped down from his prominent post at the RNC, a position he took at the request of President Trump. Laura Podesta, CBS News, New York.
Wynn donated more than $2 million to Republican candidates and organizations over the past 5 years. Now, 2 Montana leaders are facing questions about what they're going to do with financial contributions made by Wynn for their campaigns. Just this election cycle, Wynn has given $100,000 to the National Republican Senatorial Committee. A small portion went to Congressman Greg Gianforte. Records show Wynn and his wife donated $5,400 to the Gianforte campaign May 25th. That was the day of the special election and a day after Gianforte assaulted a reporter. Meanwhile, Senator Steve Daines received a $10,000 donation from the Wynns in his 2014 Senate race. A spokesman for Gianforte said in a statement, quote, "Greg believes the allegations, if true, are reprehensible. The campaign will donate the $2,700 received to charity." A spokesman for the Daines campaign said the allegations are disturbing and we need to get the facts. Next Tuesday, President Donald Trump will deliver his State of the Union speech to a joint session of Congress. All 535 members of Congress get to invite at least one guest. And now we know who will be the special guest for the congressional delegation from Montana. Senator Steve Daines will host 9-year-old Danny Hiley from Deer Lodge, who benefits from the renewed Children's Health Insurance Program. Senior Senator John Tester plans to bring National Border Patrol Council President Brandon Judd. He's from Malta. He's a 20-year veteran of Border Patrol. And going along with Greg Gianforte will be his wife, Susan. Outside of ice fishing, there's not a lot of angling this time of the year on Montana's icy rivers and lakes, but this is when state fisheries biologists work as hard as ever, processing all the samples and data they collected over the past year. Winston Greeley has more in this weekend's Outdoor Report.
During the winter, you will find most fish crews not on a lake or river, but holed up in a dark room over a microscope.
For all those anglers out there, these are kind of the behind-the-scenes surveys and studies that we do that don't get a lot of attention, but help us draw a lot of conclusions about making the fishery into the best possible fishery for the angler.
Fish crews across the state conduct a variety of wintertime surveys, from diet analysis to aging fish, in order to better understand a fishery's overall picture.
By now we have some idea what went on this past summer, but now we're able to truly get a great cross-section as to everything that's happening, whether it be starting at the bottom of the food chain with zooplankton all the way to the top of the food chain with predator growth rates and aging.
Biologists can age fish by their scales and spines, but the go-to aging structure is an ear bone called the otolith.
The rings will tell us, just like on a tree, how old that particular fish is. We're also going to see what's out there in our population. You know, is it comprised of older fish, younger fish, or a bunch of fish in between?
And while the work can seem monotonous, it is really a culmination of all the time spent on the water that make this winter work important in managing Montana's fisheries.
It's nice to get it summarized and see, make heads or tails of what's really going on out there. You know, that's the cool thing about it.
I'm Winston Greeley, out among Montana's fish, wildlife, and parks.
When employees report to work at some of the brand new buildings on Amazon's Seattle campus next week, managers might be tempted to say, "Welcome to the jungle." Jamie Yuka's got a sneak peek.
It's called the Spheres, 3 in all, reaching 90 feet high.
Amazon isn't just reshaping the Seattle skyline. They're also reinventing the idea of office space.
It's a place where all employees in the company can come and hang out and get in touch with nature.
An Amazon rainforest in cold, rainy downtown Seattle. The company asked horticulturist Ron Gagliardo to make it happen.
When Amazon said, "We want you to have free reign and pick whatever you want," and
oh, hell yeah. One of the things I've kind of learned here has been you can't be afraid to think big.
This 62-foot wall is the centerpiece of Amazon's Spheres. It's made up of 25,000 plants, 200 species from 30 countries.
That includes a 55-foot fig tree named Ruby that could only be brought in by crane, and a temporary hole in the roof. There are streams, fish, chocolate plants, vanilla orchids, all designed for employees with high-stress jobs to disconnect.
Do you want people to feel like they're in a treehouse?
Yeah, we want people to walk on this.
So this is bouncy.
And go, oh, wait a minute, it's moving. I better put my phone down.
Amazon pumped $4 billion into this campus, designed both for visitors and its rapidly growing Seattle base, now 40,000 workers.
One of the complaints you hear is that Amazon came in and then the prices of everything went through the roof.
A lot of jobs have been created well beyond the Amazon jobs, all the construction jobs that have gone into building this area.
And build they have. Watch out, Space Needle. There's a new landmark in town. Jamie Yukas, CBS News, Seattle.
Why do I watch that and have an impression I know where all the Amazon employees are going to be taking naps, right? Unauthorized. Coming up, Russ has your wet weekend forecast details on another system hitting us Sunday. And this Spokane cop gets down to some Beyonce at the hockey game, and it's all caught on the dance cam. That's coming up here on KPAX.